just timed that while you were talking.
Hello! To the knee!
Yeah. I used to play in a Robin Hood tribute band. I took an arrow in the knee. It's December. It's Christmas. It's nearly Christmas. This is the last video that we're going to do in 2011.
Time.
There's no need to be afraid. At Christmas time. This amp's just taking an arrow.
Hands around the world. Christmas time.
What was Boy George's bit in that?
Boy George's bit.
Well, obviously, he always had the sort of the like a really recognisable bit, didn't he? And
It's that in this world of plenty line, isn't it?
and in this world of plenty, I take drugs and shave my head.
And chain up radiators before I'm in the... That's going to sound like bleep. The bleep bleep. Ironically, Lee actually has a knee injury, albeit not from an arrow.
Look, I'll show you my knee support that I've got on. I'm not lying. Look. That was caused by an arrow.
It wasn't caused by an arrow. It's the only knee injury you will ever hear of that was not caused by an arrow. Ever.
Right.
That was your mix of the
this is it.
break.
This is the last video of 2011, which is kind of sad, but in a way kind of joyous too. So, here we go.
Ampeg, 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 Ampeg.
Away in an Ampeg. That we could sing.
Oh, this is MLT number 1 from Chapman Guitars. Chapman Guitars. I'm Rob Chapman from Chapman Guitars.
And I'm Elton John.
You mad, bro?
We just did a video of, we've got these new GVT amplifiers from Ampeg, which we rather like. They're real kind of throwbacks to sort of the amps that Ampeg would have been making. These are guitar amps, by the way, just in case you're thinking, you know...
In case you thought they were a bass amp.
Yeah. So these are kind of a throwback to the 70s vibe they used to did. This is a single channel, 15 watt, 6V6 loaded head. With a dual power output mode, so we can either be in 15 watt or 7.5 watt mode. Very, very clean sound, a little bit of rumble when we drive it hard. So we've got a trusty, simple old Boss super overdrive pedal here.
This is how the amplifier sounds like. Buy it or you're a... It has got a really nice tone. Really good clean tone.
I used to be in a bird watching program with Bill Oddie, but then I took a sparrow to
No, I used to eat bananas, and then I took an arrow to the knee.
Ampeg might be getting a raw deal with this particular review, although it is Christmas time. We've had much Christmas cheer. Oh, God.
Oh, that's
Okay, Chewy.
Back in the room. Did you do that?
Yeah.
Then this, and you get one of those either side.
That's what what's the cathedral one then?
No, that's
All the people in
that's
the
if you want to
church.
show your mate what a thing looks like. You do that
No,
thing.
you do that.
Yeah, that's right. You do.
Look, have a look.
I felt like I was
What's that?
Droll in the dungeon. Trip, trip, drop, little showers falling.
I used to specialise in growing, courgettes and other large green. So it's a very, very portable rig. Obviously, we're using it through a 112 cabinet here. It's really, really lightweight as well. So you know, and it's loud enough. I mean, it's not a loud amplifier, but I mean, it's loud enough for sort of jams and small gigs and rehearsals and stuff. I would have thought actually might make a nice little bluesy jazz kind of amplifier.
It's got a really, really great clean tone, and what this is the amp that you use if you like a bit of jazzy fusiony blues, and you've got a bunch of really wicked overdrive gain pedals that you can put in front and make it work good. We haven't got one of those. We've got a Boss Super Overdrive ST1, which, to be honest, isn't cutting the mustard that it normally cuts.
You don't think so?
Well, it's all right,
Don't say
but
that, that's mean.
well, no, it's a little bit kind of de la
liked it.
meh.
I quite liked it actually.
Greetings, I am Rob Chapman.
And I'm the captain.
And today at Andertons we are demonstrating this incredible combo amplification amplifier by Ampeg.
From Ampeg, who
Ampeg.
who many of you will be thinking to themselves, don't they make bass amplifiers?
Don't they make bass amplifiers?
Yes,
mate?
well they do, and they're very famous for making bass amplifiers. But back in the 70s, they also made some pretty cool guitar amplifiers.
Oh,
In
they
fact,
did
the
make
70s
bass amplifiers, but then they took an arrow to the knee.
They've just decided to get back into the market of making guitar amplifiers and have released 3 new amplifiers, basically a 5-watt, a 15-watt and a 50-watt selection of sort of heads and combos. We got a couple of those here today. First one that we're looking at is the 50-watt 1x12 called the GVT52.
What does GVT stand for?
Good vibe time.
Good vibe times!
I don't know, but I made it up.
Guthrie-
It was quick, wasn't it?
Guthrie Van Halen tone.
Guitar vacuum tube. I don't know. Could be.
Could be,
anything.
that probably is
Yeah.
what it stands for actually.
So it's basically it's a pretty straightforward, straight up amplifier, nicely
There's
made.
a hole here for your lead.
Yeah, that's fairly essential. They used to make amps with input jacks, but
No, without input jacks. Try again, Lee. Deadpan.
They used to make amplifiers that didn't have input jacks, but then I took an arrow to the.
No, then they took an arrow to the knee.
Hang on.
Did they always have input jacks?
No, they used to make. I can do this. It's not even that funny, for f***'s sake. Okay.
Lee, did they always have input sockets like that?
No, they used to make amplifiers that didn't have input.
Try again. I won't look at you. So when I look at you, it goes right.
It's terrible. I can't do. Hang on.
Look at me.
Ah!
It's all fine. Five it. Lee, did they always have input jacks like that?
It's like when you're at school, sitting at the back of the class, and there's
Hold on.
nothing funny happening.
I can't see
You
you
just
now.
can't help it, can you?
Lee, did they always have input jacks on Ampeg amplifiers?
No, there was a series of amplifiers that. It's because I haven't recovered fully before you start. Don't ask me the question. Let me just give you the answer.
I think that's the problem.
Now, there used to be a series of Ampeg amplifiers that didn't use input jacks. But then I so nearly got there as well.
Your eyes are glazing.
Did they always have input jacks on Ampeg amplifiers?
No, there used to be a series of Ampeg amplifiers that didn't use input.
Have you seen that TV show with that guy going out the skier called like Fanny Schmelt?
What is wrong with me? It's not even that funny.
Lee, did they always have input sockets on Ampeg combos?
No, there was a series of amplifiers in the 80s from Ampeg, so where they didn't put input sockets on. But then they took an arrow to the knee. Yeah! So, this GVT52, it's a 6L6 loaded all-tube amplifier. It's kind of not a great deal, you know, to tell you. I don't think this isn't like a revolution in guitar amplifiers, but there's a couple of cool kind of features on here. Firstly, the amp can be switched. The standby switch here rather can switch the amp into a half power mode, so 25 watt, or a full power mode. And the EQ on here is a little different. It uses an EQ tone circuit called a Baxandall EQ. They were going to put traditional EQ on the amplifier, but then they took an arrow to the knee. A Baxandall EQ circuit, it's not specific necessarily to guitar amplifiers, it's like an EQ thing, you can find them on hi-fi and stuff. It's basically where, rather than the treble, middle and bass on a typical EQ, you know, basically just adjusting fairly narrow frequency bandwidth so that, you know, turning the treble up and down fundamentally
They
just
kind
make
of,
the amp.
they suck either side of them.
Yeah, so it's a
if
much
you turn
wider...
the middle down, it sucks from either side.
So you get quite a lot more sort of tonal variation. Tell him the joke about Elton John and George Michael's new remake of The Wizard of Oz.
Oh!
The yellow.
Oh!
No, just beeps the yellow beep.
So let's hear the clean sound.
Yes.
And we're in we were in half power mode. Actually, I tell you what I did find. You know, like on Fender amplifiers, where 75% of the volume appears to be like in the first sort of two notches of it. This is almost the other way around. About 75%, well, about 50% of the volume appears to come in like the final sort of quarter of the volume controls. So that's why some of these are turned up quite loud. This is the 1x12 version, by the way. There is a head version and a 2x12 version, but this is the 112. Right, now what I want to do is drive the clean channel, because one of the things I think this amp does, and I don't know if it's because of perhaps Ampeg's heritage from the 70s, one of the things it does is that kind of nice crunched clean sound, kind of a bit like the sort of the, you know, Rolling Stones, Keith Richards-y kind of just driven chordy sort of stuff. So we'll just set that sound up. And that
Sounds
was
good.
Yeah, and that was all off of just the clean channel. So we'll dive over to the gain channel now.
Quite a proggy sound, this clean channel. Reminds me a lot of some of the sort of 80s wicked prog stuff of Phil Collins. And,
It's funny, do you know what? I'm just going to refer to my iPhone now because I did just want to tell you some of the artists actually who over the years have used Ampeg guitar amps. So
I heard that Jimi
Yeah.
Hendrix used to use Ampeg combos, but then he took an arrow to the knee.
I don't think any of these guys ever endorsed Ampeg, so you've probably never seen them in an advert. So guys like Steve Morse, Matthew Bellamy from
Joe
Views,
Satriani,
Dave Grohl,
Slash.
all the ones I'm saying are correct. Chappers are just making things up. Keith Richards, we got Mick Taylor, we got
Mick Taylor plays acoustic guitar.
No, Mick Taylor's the dead one from the Rolling Stones.
Oh, I thought you meant Mick Taylor, the one-legged acoustic bandit.
And who else have we got on here? Well, that's a big selection. There's some big names there.
Tina Turner, Paul Simon.
Well, Paul Simon did until he took an arrow to the knee.
Oh, yeah.
We just end on is the sort of the one sound that we haven't managed to achieve out the amplifier without finding a pedal is a bit of sort of modern metal-y stuff. So we've got a Boss metalcore pedal here that we're just going to run through the clean sound. Price-wise on these amplifiers, the 112 is about $699, so that's very specific, isn't it? So let's say about 700, and the 212 is about 800.
Is that $699.99?
$699.99. It was, but then I took an arrow in the knee.